Hello, Freaky Army. My name is MC Freak 767, and I'm starting today like a new kind of series, where I read some creepy pastas. Any kind, gaming, non-gaming, whatever. And yeah, so today I'm doing Sonic.exe. Now this is a really popular creepypasta, and it's pretty creepy, really creepy, and it has like kind of a fan-made thing. So yeah, without further ado, let us start the pasta. I'm totally a Sonic the Hedgehog fan, much like everyone else. I like the newer games, but I don't mind playing the classics. I don't think I've ever played glitchy or hacked games before, though I don't think I want to play any after the experience I had. I started one on a nice sorry. It started on a nice summer afternoon. I was playing Sonic Unleashed. I liked how you get the between parentheses, I liked how you get to explore the towns in it, until I noticed out of my peripheral vision that the mailman had arrived and put something in my mailbox. As usual, and left. Paused my game to go see what I got in the mail. The only thing in the mailbox was a CD case for the computers and a note. I took it inside. I looked at the note first and realized it was from my dear friend Kyle. Let's just call him that, whom I hadn't heard from in 2 weeks. I know that because I recognized his handwriting though. That was weird, is how it looked. It looked badly written and scratchy, and somewhat difficult to read, as if Kyle was having a hard time writing it down and did it in a hurry. This is what he wrote, and I quote, "Tom, I can't take it anymore. I had to get rid of this thing somehow before it was too late, and I was hoping you'd do it for me. I can't do it. He's after me, and if you don't destroy this CD, he'll come after you too. He's too fast for me. Please, Tom, destroy this godforsaken disc before he comes after you. If it's too late for me. Destroy this disc, and you'll destroy him. But do it quickly, otherwise he'll catch you. Don't even play the game. It's what he wants. Just destroy it. Please, Kyle." And that's done. That was certainly weird. Even though Kyle is my best friend and I haven't seen him in 2 weeks, I didn't do what he asked me. I didn't think that a simple disc could do anything bad to him. After all, it's just a game, right? Boy, was I wrong. Anyway, I looked at the disc and it looks like any ordinary computer CDR disc, except it had a black marker on it written Sonic.exe, and it was unlike Kyle's handwriting, meaning that he must have gotten it from someone else, like a pawn shop or eBay. When I saw Sonic on the writing of the CD, I was actually excited and I wanted to play it since I'm a big Sonic fan. I went up to my room and turned on my computer and put the disc in and installed the game. When the title screen popped up, I noticed that it was the first Sonic game. I was like, awesome, because like I said earlier, I like the classics. The first thing I noticed that was out of the place was when I pressed start. There was a split second when I saw the title image, turning into something much different. Something that I could now consider horrifying before cutting to black. I remember what the image looked like in that split second before the game got cut to black. The sky had turned the title emblem, was rusted in and ruined. The Sega 1991 was now instead Sega 666, and the water had turned red like blood, except it looks hyper-realistic. How could blood be hyper-realistic? Well, never mind. But the freakiest thing that was in that split-second frame was Sonic. His eyes were pitch black and bleeding with two glowing red dots, staring right at me. Sorry. And his smile had stretched wider up to the edge of his face. I was rather disturbed about the image when I saw it. though I figured that it was just a glitch and forgot about it. After it, I cut After it cut to black, I stayed like that for about 10 seconds or so, and then another weird thing happened. The save file selected from the Hedgehog 3 popped up, and I was like, WTF? What's that doing in my first Sonic game? Anyway, then I noticed something off. The background was like dark and cloudy sky of the bad Stardust Speedway level from Sonic CD, and there were only 3 save files. The music was that creepy caverns of Winter's music from the Earthbound, only was extended and seemed to have been in reverse. And the image from the save file where you see a preview of the level, just in the dark red static in all these files. What freaked me out was the character select. It showed only Tails, Knuckles, and to my surprise, Dr. Robotnik. I don't know, maybe it was the Egghead dude. I don't know what it was. Now I was sure that something was up. I mean, how can you play as Robotnik and a classic Sonic game, for crying out loud? The screen stayed black for about 10 seconds or more. Then it showed the typical level title thing, except the simplistic shapes were different shades of red, and text showed only Hill Act 1. The screen faded in, and the level title vanished, revealing Tails in the Green Hill Zone from Sonic 1. The music was different, though. It sounded like a peaceful melody in reverse. Anyway, I started playing, and it had Tails start running like you would in any of the classic Sonic games. What was odd was that as Tails was running along the level, there was nothing but flat ground and a few trees for 5 minutes. Then the peaceful music started to lower down into slow, deep tones, very slowly as it kept going. I suddenly saw something, and I stopped to see what it was. It was one of the small animals lying dead on the ground, bleeding. Between parentheses, that was when the music started to slow down. Tails had a shocked and saddened look on his face that I never saw him have before. So I had him move along, and he kept that worried look on his face. As he kept moving, I saw dead animals as Tails moved past them, looking more and more worried as the music lowers, and he moves past the more dead animals. I was shocked to see how that they all died. They looked like someone killed them, rather gruesome ways. A squirrel was hanged on a tree with what appeared to be in his entrails hanging out. A bunny had all of his limbs torn off, and a duck had his eyes gouged out and his throat slit. I felt sick to my stomach when I saw this massacre, and apparently so did Tails. After a few more seconds, there was no more animals, and music seemed to have stopped. I still kept Tails to continue. After a minute passed after that music stopped, Tails was running up a hill, and then he stopped. It was until I saw why. Sonic was there on the other side of the screen with his back against Tails, with his eyes closed. Tails looked happy to see Sonic, but then his smile faltered. Obviously, noticing that Sonic wasn't responding to him, if not acting as if he was totally obvious that Tails' presence. Tails walked slowly towards Sonic, and I noticed that I wasn't even moving my keyboard to make him move. So this had been a cutscene. Suddenly, I began to see a growing feel of dread as Tails walked closer to Sonic to get his attention. I felt that Tails was in danger and something bad was going to happen. I heard faint static growing louder as Tails was inches away from Sonic and stopped and stuck his hands in to touch him. The foreboding feeling in my gut was growing stronger, and I felt the urge to tell Tails to get away from Sonic as the static grew louder. Suddenly, in a split second, I saw Sonic's eyes open and the black with the red glowing dots. Just like that title image, thought there was a smile. Wasn't a smile. When that happened, the scene turned black and the static sound was off. It stayed back about 7 seconds, and this white text appeared forming a message saying, "Hello, do you want to play with me?" At this point, I was creeped out. I didn't know what to want to continue with the game, but my curiosity got the better of me when I was taken to a different level with a level title saying "Hide and Seek." This time I was in the Angel Island from Sonic 3, and it looks like everything was on fire. Tails looked at as he was scared out of his wits at this time. He actually looked at me and made frantic gestures to me as if he wanted to get out of this area. He was in a fast as possible. I was starting to get freaked out by this. I mean, Tails was actually breaking the fourth wall, trying to get me to get him out of there. So I pressed down on the arrow key as hard as I could and made him run as fast as he could. A pixelated version of that creepy theme. Then you meet Shadow at the Ark as Robotnik from SA2. I think that means Sonic Adventure 2. Was playing as I made Tails trek through the desolate forest, trying to help him escape from whatever he was trying to run from. Suddenly, I heard that creepy laugh again. That awful Kefka laugh. Right after 10 seconds have passed as I helped Tails run through the forest. Then I started seeing flashes of Sonic popping everywhere on the screen, again with those black and red eyes. The music changed to that suspenseful, drowning jingle as I see Sonic behind Tails slowly gaining up on him, flying. Sonic wasn't running; he was actually flying. The flying pose his sprite was making looked very similar to Metal Sonic's flying pose in Sonic CD, except it was just Sonic and he had black and red eyes again. Only this time, he had the most dangerous looking grin on his face. He looked as though he was enjoying the torment he was giving to the poor little fox as he gained up on him. Suddenly, when Tails tripped, another cutscene. The music stopped and Sonic vanished. Tails laid there and started crying for about 15 seconds. The scene was rather upsetting to watch, and I kind of teared up myself. But then Sonic appeared, right in front of Tails, and Tails looked up in horror. Blood started to come out of those blackened eyes of Sonic, as a grin slowly grew from his face, and as he looked down at the horrified fox. I could do nothing but watch. Just in a split second, along that Tails right before that screen went black. There was a loud screeching noise that only lasted 5 seconds. The text returned only this time and said, "You're too slow. Want to try again?" And then that god-awful laugh came with it. I was so shocked by what happened. Did Sonic murder Tails? No, he couldn't have. He and Tails supposed to be the best friends, right? Why did Sonic do that to him? I shook the shock off as I was brought to the character select. The save file that Tails had was different. Tails was no longer in the box itself, but the TV screen itself, which was flickering with the red static. Tails' expression was no longer in the box itself, but the TV screen itself, which was flickering with red static. Tails' expression scared me. His eyes were black and bleeding. His orange fur had gone black, and he had an expression of anguish on his face. Trying to ignore it, I picked Knuckles next. Shit, this is creepy. Let's see. Where was I? Red Knuckles next. Wow, I am not. This time, oh wow. Where am I? Where the hell am I? Sonic Tails tripped, okay. Where am I? No! Oh, come on. Where am I? Okay. The laugh came again, and the screen cut to black again, and stayed there for another 10 seconds. This time the level said, "You can't run." I was really freaked out by now. I couldn't really tell if that was a glitch or a hack, or some kind of twisted joke, or anything really. But despite my fear of what happened next, I kept playing. The next level looked much different. It had the ground of the scrap brain zone, but the sky background looked like the main menu. It had the dark reddish cloudy sky, but it had the music that creeped me out the most. It sounded like Jagged's, I don't know what that was, theme right after you beat the Pokey in the Earthbound. I also noticed that Knuckles looked afraid just like Tails did. Th- thought? Oh, though, not as much. Rather, he looked like unnerved. He broke the fourth wall just like Tails and looked as if he wasn't sure about going on, but I made him move anyway. He ran down the street pathway in this dark level, and as he did, the screen started to flicker. Red static a couple times, and then the maddening laugh came again. Then, after a few seconds of running, I noticed several blood stains on the metallic ground. I felt like a growing sense of fear again, thinking somewhat how something horrible is going to happen to Knuckles. He looked nauseated, walking down this blood-stained road, but still kept going on. Still kept him going, sorry. Suddenly, as Knuckles ran, Sonic appeared right in front of him with those black-red eyes, and then red static appeared again. When the static vanished, showing nothing but black screen, the text saying, "Found you." I was now scared. Sonic found Knuckles already? What's going on? Anyway, red static came again, and then I was back to the level. Knuckles looked like he was panicking, and Sonic was nowhere to be found. And in this time, the path pitched squealing from the Silent Hill's final boss was playing. So Silent Hill is apparently now in Sonic. I don't know. What is this now? Some kind of boss battle with Sonic? I hope to God it wasn't. Honestly. Suddenly, Sonic appeared right behind Knuckles, and in what appeared to be pixelated black smoke. I made Knuckles turn and then punch Sonic, but Sonic vanished in the black pixelated smoke before I could even land a hit. That terrible laugh went off again. Then Sonic appeared behind Knuckles again, and then I made him punch again, and Sonic vanished again, laughing. Knuckles was panicking even more, and I felt like I was going crazy. Sonic was practically playing with us. He was playing a sick, twisted little mind game with me and Knuckles. Around another cutscene played as Knuckles fell to his knees and clutched his head, sobbing. I felt the agony. Sonic was actually driving both of us crazy. And then, in a split second, Sonic lunged at Knuckles, and the screen went black with another sort of screeching noise that lasted for at least 3 seconds. Another text message appeared. So many souls to play with. So little time. Would you agree? What the hell what is going on? I started to think Sonic was actually trying to talk to me through the game, but I was too scared to think that. I was brought back to the game main menu, and this time the second file box had filled and Knuckles in the TV screen. His red fur and had darkened to a reddish gray. His dreadlocks were dripping with blood, and his eyes were black and bleeding too. He had a look of sadness on his face. I began to think that those are the actual characters trapped in those TV screens on the same files, but I couldn't believe it. I didn't want to believe it, so I shut off the game and took a break. I took a nap. I wish I hadn't, because then I began to have the most disturbing nightmare. I was in pitch black darkness, though I was under the light given off by a lamp that hung high above my head. I could hear the cries of Knuckles and Tails nearby. They were saying stuff like, "Help us!" and "Why did you give us to him?" and "Run away before he gets you." Their cries died out and then I heard Sonic laugh. His laugh. It sounded a lot like a distorted Kefka laugh. "You're a lot of fun to play with, kid. Just like your friend Kyle." Though he didn't last long. I was scared and looking around for the source of his voice. Won't be long now, and you join him, won't be long now until you join him all my friends. I saw him walking towards me, flickering and out in several directions. "You can't run, kid. You're in my world now, just like the others." When he grabbed me, and I saw his bleeding black red-eye grinning face, I woke up with a fright. I punched myself. After a couple of hours, I decided to continue playing the game. I don't know why, but I had to know. I had to figure out what was happening. So I turned on the computer, turned on the game, and selected Robot Nick next. I still thought that was wacky, playing as Robot Nick. But anyway, the level appeared again, and this time it said triple dot, which I found really freaky. This time I was in some kind of hallway. Then it really looked like it was from any of the classic Sonic games. Though it had a pixelated style, the floor was shiny and checkered. The walls were dark grayish purple with animated candlelights, and a few dark bloodstains were there here and there. There was a dark red curtain hanging above the top of the screen. Every 12 seconds or so, oh, I'm sorry, I just stuff. Or so that red curtain sways very slowly, but whenever you're playing the game, you can barely see it move. The music was oddly pleasant, a piano playing a rather sad yet peaceful song, but I knew better this was the song that played in Hill Act 1. Only it wasn't backwards or in reverse. Robotnik didn't look entirely nervous like Tails and Knuckles did, but he had a suspicious look on his face as if he was a bit paranoid. He did a little animation when I was just left him standing. He turns his head left and then to the right at least twice and then shrugs at me, as if he has no idea where he was or what was going on. Even though I was scared out of my mind, what was going on to happen, I had Robotnik continue onward. He did his usual running animation as he continued going through the hallway. Then I stopped at a long flight of stairs leading downward. Now I was nervous. Even Robotnik seemed unsure of himself. Though I pressed onward, as I led Robotnik down the stairs, I noticed that the walls have gotten darker and more reddish. The red torches are now in an eerie blue. There was this reddened, there was land, other blue. Then we landed onto another hallway. This one was longer than the last one, or at least I felt like it. And then we headed down the other flight of stairs down. This was much longer. It took at least 1 full minute. And then I heard the horrid Kefka laugh again, and the music started slowly fading until it was quiet. And as it did, the walls turned more dark and red, and the torches were black flame now. When Robotnik landed onto the third hallway, I noticed that he now looked really creeped out, though he tried to hide it. I couldn't blame him. I was scared too. Suddenly, Sonic popped right in front of Robotnik, the same way he did in Knuckles and the red static. The red static lasted for about 15 seconds, and then it showed me a most unpleasant image. The image was showed a hyper-realistic of Sonic in the darkness, where you can only see his face while his head and torso faded into black. And then when I say hyper-realistic, I mean like he looked so real you could actually see the lines of his blue fur, as if you can actually feel the fur if you touch the screen. His face, oh god, he had the most horrifying smile I had ever seen. And that's saying and that's saying something, as considering I saw that image of the start of the game. His eyes were wide and black. Once again, crying blood, which also looked hyper-realistic. And there were 2 small glowing red dots in those black eyes, staring right at me, as if staring at my mind. His grin was wide and demonic. It really stretched to the side of his face, like a Cheshire cat, except Sonic had fangs, very sharp fangs, much like the werehog's teeth, except for more vicious looking, somewhat yellowish, and from the look of it, he had stains of blood and small bits of flesh in his lips and fangs, as if he ate some animal. I started staring at gruesome image for about a good 30 seconds, never taking my eyes off it. I felt as if he was really looking at me, smiling at me. That face, it just looked like took 10 seconds for it to etch itself into my brain for good. Then the screen flickered with the red static again 3 times, and the 3rd time I heard the Kefka laugh. Except this time it sounded distorted, demonic, even. and I went back to the image where, except this time there was text again. It messed up, but it was pretty much one of the most horrifying things. I looked at it since I had this game. I am God. It was when I read the message while looking at Sonic when it hit me. I realized right there and then that Sonic was a monster, a pure evil, sadistic, all-powerful, nightmarish, demented monster, and all of his victims, including Tails, Knuckles, Robotnik, and possibly Kyle, are just his little toys. And the game is very gateway into his chaotic, nightmarish world, and the very hell his victims are trapped in. Suddenly, an actual split second, I screamed as Sonic lunged at the screen, screeching loudly with his mouth wide open to an unnatural length, revealing nothing but a literally spiraling abyss of pure darkness, before the red static came again, this time much louder and distorted, so loud that it hurt my ears. I yelled and grabbed my ears as the red static screeched for a good 7 seconds. Then it stopped and showed nothing but black screen. As I sat there staring at the black screen, one last text came up. Ready for round 2, Tom? The Kefka laugh sounded more clear, as if Sonic was right behind me. Played again 3 times as I looked at the text in shock and confusion. Then I booted back to the menu, and this time the third save file had a TV image of Robotnik in the same torment state of Tails and Knuckles. Robotnik's skin turned a dull gray, his mustache dropped and had blackened. His glasses broke and blood is coming out of them as he had a mere dead-like expression on his face. Okay, we're gonna get this over with. I looked at Tails, Knuckles. Oh my god. And yeah. Okay. Through their okay, to Robotnik and I cried a bit. I pitied them for their agony and they're going through. They were even forever trapped within the game, forever tormented by that horrid hedgehog, and always will be. Then the computer shut down itself off. I couldn't turn it back on, or no matter what I did. I sat there for maybe 25 seconds, horrified by what just happened. Sonic is a very embodiment of evil. He tortures people who plays this game in more ways than one, and then when he gets bored, he drags you into the game. Literally drags you to hell. He can play with you anyways, and he has his toy. I can get the game out of my computer. I think it's stuck in there, but at least I managed to turn it back on now. After I sat there for 25 seconds, I heard a voice right behind me, like a whisper. Try to keep this interesting for me, Tom. I turned around to see where the voice came, and what I saw made me scream. Sitting on my bed, staring right at me, was a Sonic plushie, smiling with bloodstains under its eyes. Well, that was the creepypasta, guys. I hope you liked it, and leave a like if you enjoyed this series. Actually, they made a fan-made game about this. So yeah, I'm gonna put a download link in the description of this video, and the creepypasta as well if you didn't understand what I was reading, because I'm reading so fast. And yeah, so yeah. I'm sorry if I took so long to upload a video, guys. It was just bad news and everything, but good thing it's done. It's over. Well, I'm gonna try to upload more videos later. So yeah, just that. See you guys. I am MC Freak, and I'll see you later. Boom.